All right, hello, seventh grade. Okay, 5-5 today, simple interest. Okay, so get that copy down, get your book opened up. You're going to need just one color today because it's really just one formula, which is fantastic for all of us. Okay, my last lesson was really long. This one's not so bad. All right, so first thing, copy down the definition of principal and copy down the definition of simple interest. Okay, I don't need to write those on the board. They're in your book. Okay, so pause the video, copy down those two definitions, and then turn this back on. All right. So here's our formula, okay, to figure out interest. Okay, so first thing, let me explain two things. Okay, interest can be two different things. Interest can be what you pay or what you earn. So for example, okay, if I am taking out a loan to buy a house, okay, the bank's going to lend me money to buy my house. Yay, because most people don't have, like $200,000 just sitting in their bank account, so you need to take out a loan. But the bank's not going to give me that $200,000 for nothing just because they're nice, okay? A bank is a business. They are going to charge me interest. So there's a percentage of that $200,000 that I am going to have to pay above the $200,000. So when all is said and done, and by the time I actually pay the bank back, like over 30 years, because I'm going to pay them a little bit at a time each month, I might pay them back $300,000 for loaning me $200,000, okay? That's interest. So that's interest that I pay. You pay interest on a car loan. You pay interest on a house loan. Students, when you go to college, you pay interest on a student loan, okay? So that's interest, which is why you want to borrow as little money as you can, because you have to pay back interest for the privilege of borrowing. Okay. You can also earn interest. So when I put my money in the bank, like in a savings account, they are paying me interest. That's why I'm going to put my money there and not stuff it under a mattress, okay? They are going to pay me interest to keep it there. So I'm going to earn interest if I put my money in the bank, okay? So two different interests. I can either pay it or I can earn it, but they're both called interest, all right? So this we're going to write with your color. Erase it because I wrote it in black. All right, so my formula for interest, this is your part that's in the color, is principal times rate times time. So I'm just going to write it the way they have it, but we're going to explain it below here. Principal, that's the amount of money we're talking about. So the amount of money that I borrowed or the amount of money that I put into the bank. Rate, that's my percent, okay? And this is not in a proportion, which means what's going to happen to that percent? I have to write it as a decimal, okay? Don't forget that step. And this is T for time. And that is always in this formula in years, okay? Time in years, and that's going to be important as we go farther on. All right, so that's my formula. Interest is principal times rate times time. What do you think the P gets always messed up as? Kids think the P stands for percent. It stands for principal. That's the amount of money I'm talking about there, okay? That's money. All right, so that's my formula. Let's hop in and start using it. So now we need your pencil. So example 1, finding simple interest. You borrow $300 for 5 years at an annual interest rate of 4%. What is the simple interest you pay in dollars? So this is interest you're going to pay. We always start out by just writing the formula, okay? That helps get it in your head. These formulas on the test, by the way, are not given to you. You have to memorize that formula, okay? So start kind of trying to get that in your brain. Okay, so let's plug in my money. I'm going to find the interest. What is the principal? How much money are we talking about? We're talking about $300. I'm going to use a dot here for my multiplication symbol. What's the rate? 4%, but I have to write that as a decimal. So I'm going to write 0.04, and the time is over 5 years. Okay, so when you multiply that out, 300 times 0.04 times 5, you can put it all in the calculator at the same time. You're going to get $60. Okay, so that's how much you're going to pay in interest. So if you borrow $300, you're going to pay back a total of $360. Okay, because you're going to pay that $60 in interest. Okay, all right, you know the drill. You are going to do quick check 1. Pause the video. Some of my friends that are doing this in class, let's have a little talk. Some of my friends that are doing this in class, I'm not blind. You're putting your computer on top of your textbook. and it stays there the entire time. So when I say pause the video and do quick check 1, and you don't move your computer off your textbook for the entire class period, I know that means you're not doing it. That's cheating. That's not okay. Right? So you have to actually pause the video and you have to actually do quick check 1 on your own and then turn it back on and then see if you did it right. Okay. Otherwise, this system doesn't really work. Okay. This is you having to be honest and take an initiative and responsibility for your own learning. You can do that. I know you can. You're awesome children. Okay. Let's keep going. So now that the lecture's out of the way, let's do quick check 1. Simple interest you pay. Okay. So again, I'm going to start with my formula. And I have on a $220 loan for 5% interest. So my principal, the amount of money, oops, not 200, 220. Okay. $220, 5%, that's 0.05, and for 4 years for them. Okay. So you just plug all that in a calculator, 220 times 0.05 times 4, and you are going to get how much interest are you going to pay? $44. Now remember, we talked in the last lesson a lot about how you have to be careful about what the question is asking. So maybe what if this question said, how much will you pay back altogether? Well, then you would have to add that $44 to the 220 to say how much you would pay back altogether. So just be careful of how the question's worded, just like in the last lesson, okay? All right, example 2. All right, actually, I'm going to skip that one because it involves graphing, and we're going to do an example similar to that in class together. So I'm going to skip that one for now, okay? That would be a hard one for you guys that are home. That would be a tough one for you guys to do too. So we'll do that when you get back. But my kiddos in school will do that either later in this class or we'll do it next class. Okay, so let's go on to example 3. Comparing loans. Yes. Okay. So this is like another, like I said, this chapter is full of real life math. If you're going to get a car loan or a house loan or a student loan, you want to get the best loan that you can. So you need to have some math knowledge to figure out which bank is going to give you the best deal on your loan. Okay, so you have to pay back the least amount of money. All right, so you need to borrow $1,000. You're borrowing, I'm just writing out my information right now, $1,000. You can borrow it for 3 years. So here's your choice, 3 years at 8% interest or 2 years at 11% interest. So your interest is higher here, but it's over less time. So we have to figure out which is the better deal, okay? So in this case, I'm going to be multiplying 1,000 times 0.08 times 3. And in this case, I'm going to be multiplying 1,000 times 0.11 times 2, okay? So when I do that, and I plug those numbers into my calculator, my 3-year loan is going to be $240, and my 2-year loan is going to be $220. So which loan would I choose? This is a case where more is not good, okay? I don't want to pay back that much in interest. I want to pay back this much in interest. So this is my better deal for my loan. It's actually going to be better to pay it over a shorter period of time with a higher interest rate. I'm going to pay less, okay? Okay, so yes, you get to do quick check 3, which means you actually have to pause the video and do it, okay, and then turn it back on. Okay, so quick check 3. Barbara wants to borrow $2,000, so of course I'm going to start with this. I'm going to cross out. So this is what I'm going to borrow, $2,000. Again, we're going to do it. There's 2 different directions here. She can get a $2,000 loan at 7% for 3 years or 11% for 2 years. All right, so let's see what it's going to be. So I'm going to multiply 2,000 times 0.07 times 3 and 2,000 times 0.11 times 2. Okay? And when you do all that, again, this guy's going to be cheaper. Okay? When you multiply all that out. Okay? All right. That's pretty much it for this, guys. Okay? Happy Friday. Yay. Okay? Go Bills. Woohoo. Okay? Bye.